Hi guys. First game on our list is The Battle for Ramadi, published in 2018, has a BGG score of 7.1, a complexity weight of 2.33. The designer is Jay Ward, the publisher is Tiny Battle Publishing. So The Battle for Ramadi is a solo game. You play the part of the commander of the Iraqi security forces, and the game represents the climax of a week-long battle to capture the government complex and secure a political victory. This is a really fun game, guys, and you really get the feel of urban fighting where every street and every building is hard fought. You have no idea what you're going to find when you kick down that next door or go through that back alley. The game uses a chit pull system for your encounters. You may run into ISIS fighters, an IED, or innocent civilians. You really don't know. It's truly a game of resource management. You have your counter-terrorist service troops, you have army, police, militia. You also can call on coalition air assets and special forces. But keep in mind, this is a political game. You can gain the objective, but still lose the fight because you've taken way too many casualties. One of the things I like about this game is this is a very cool counterattack option for the ISIS bot. This counterattack can reclaim sections of the city that you thought you've already secured. If you don't keep an eye on it, you could lose it. The Battle of Ramadi really does capture the sense of urban fighting. The game has a high replayability value, and I find a very nice balance between skill of resource management and the luck of the dice. The next game on the list is On to Moscow Solitaire, published in 2022, has a BGG rating of 7.5, a complexity weight of 1.5. The designers of the game are Sean Cook, Mike Wiley, and Grant Wiley. The publisher is Worthington Publishing. On to Moscow is a solitaire book war game. You have 25 gameplays within the book that are broken up by 5 different scenarios with 5 different difficulty levels each. You supply 2 dice and a pencil, and that's all you need. The rules and all of the gameplays are within the book. This is not a print and play game, guys. One of the things that I really love about this format is the ability to take this on the road with you, whether it's a business trip, family vacation, or in my case, I was sitting in the waiting room waiting to get a windshield replaced on my car. In this game, you play as the Axis, invading the Soviet Union in June 1941, with a push towards Moscow. Each turn, you gather resource points, which are spent for military actions, repairing damaged units, or building up reserves for future attacks. And if you write lightly with your pencil in the book, guys, you can erase and get unlimited gameplay out of these games. So some of my takeaways from the game: you get quite a bit of player agency in the decisions that you're trying to make that can help mitigate the risk that you're taking and influence some of the dice rolls. I think the game does a very good job of that, and your decisions do matter. The third game on our list is Tarawa, 1943, published in 2021. It has a BGG rating of 7.7 and a complexity weight of 2.08. The designers are Mike Wiley and Grant Wiley, and the publisher is Worthington Games. Tarawa, 1943, is a solitaire card-driven wargame that uses blocks for the units. It depicts the invasion of the Japanese-controlled Tarawa in November 1943 by the 2nd Marine Division. In the 3 days of fighting, the Japanese suffered over 4,000 casualties. At Tarawa, the Marines landed close to 12,000 men over those 3 days and suffered almost 3,200 casualties, a rate of roughly 26%. Put that in perspective. On D-Day, the Americans had a casualty rate of roughly 9%. The basic gameplay in Tarawa 1943 is, as the Marine player, you will activate one of your battalions. During this activation, you can move, attack, or attempt to regroup. You'll also have a handful of cards, well, 3 cards, that give you additional resources that you can play that are fairly unique. That could be naval support, engineering support, tanks, things like that. As a battalion is activated, it reduces its cohesion. Cohesion reflects a unit's ability to fight. A battalion's cohesion starts at a value of 12. Once it drops below 6, you need to start taking exhaustion checks, and the unit becomes ineffective. And once that cohesion drops below 1, that unit is eliminated from the game. The penultimate entry in our list, Undaunted Normandy, 2019 was when it was published, has a BGG rating of 7.8, a complexity weight of 2.25. The designers are Trevor Benjamin and David Thompson, and the publisher is Osprey Games. Undaunted Normandy is our first 2-player game in the list. It is a deck builder game and can be correctly defined as a Euro-style war game. It is a gateway game for hobby board gamers to get into wargame. Undaunted Normandy scenarios are tactical level skirmishes. There are a number of expansions to the Undaunted series. The first one being Undaunted North Africa. It is a standalone game, and it does introduce vehicles, new forces. The next expansion is Undaunted Reinforcements. Reinforcements requires either Normandy or North Africa, as it adds to both of those games. It also adds a 4-player mode for both Normandy and North Africa, as well as a solo bot. The next game in the series is huge, and that is Undaunted Stalingrad. And it has a very detailed campaign system. It's the one game I don't own in the series yet. And the latest edition is Undaunted Battle of Britain, which takes the Undaunted system into full-on air combat. All the games have beautiful artwork for both the cards and the maps and all the counters. This is a highly recommended series. If you are a hobby board gamer looking to get into war games, I would highly recommend the Undaunted series, taking you from Normandy to North Africa to Stalingrad and the air over Britain. The 5th and final game in our list is Stalingrad, Advance to the Volga, 1942. Published in 2023, has a BGG rating of 7.9, a complexity weight of 1.95. The designer is Michael Ranella. The publisher is Revolution Games and Take Aim Designs. Stalingrad, Advance to the Volga, 1942, is a solo war game. You play as the German 6th Army as it pushes to crush the Soviet 62nd Army and capture Stalingrad in September of 1942. The game is an area movement style of game with a low counter density. What I think is kind of cool in this game is there's an optional rule that has a counter to bring Pavlov's house into the game. I love that level of detail in a game where you can get something that's iconic like that. The game has 2 scenarios. The main campaign game is a 9-turn game. It also has a shorter 5-turn game. As you can see from the photographs and video, the map encounters in this game are absolutely gorgeous. As you move your units from area to area, you're faced with Soviet defense strategies. These range from heroes, which reduce your morale, an ambush, which will eliminate a lead attacking unit, a barrage, where you either place an attacking unit out of action, or you have to flip all your units and retreat. There are fanatics, that if you get a combat result as a success, it's treated as a stalemate. And then there are the guards. They roll 3d6 instead of 2d6 during combat resolution. They're just harder to defeat.